Okay, so I'm going to be inventorying all of this. On the left I've got my professional kit, and then the tall white thing on the right is some storage that I keep in my closet. And then everything else is just kind of random stuff. So it's going to be a really long job. Alright everyone, so here is my full MAC collection. Every 6 months or so I do updated inventory on everything I have, even stuff that's not my MAC stuff. I just like to keep my brands together. Anyway, so I've got my makeup insured, so keeping an updated inventory is important. So anyway, let's go ahead and start with my foundations. And yes, I am a makeup artist, that's why I have so many. Alright, so these little ones here in the travel bottles are Studio Fix fluids. They actually hold the same amount as the regular size Studio Fix fluids. They're both 1 ounce, but there's so much glass for the regular Studio Fix fluids that it just looks bigger. Anyways, I like carrying these ones around in my kit, and then I will refill with these ones when I run out. Next, I've got my MAC Airbrush foundation, and then Face and Body foundation. This is Studio Mist foundation, Studio Stick foundation, Studio Sculpt. Down here I've got a BB cream. The little ones here are, what are they? Select foundation. This is Select Tint and Mineralized foundation. And then these are Hyper Real foundations. Onto my concealers. These are my Prolong Wears, my Moisture Covers, some Select Cover Up concealers. This is a palette I made with Studio Finish concealers, and these over here are Studio Finish color correctors. These are Studio Finish concealers and a couple other random concealers. Moving on to non-makeup stuff, I've got some brush cleansers, airbrush cleansers, Fix Plus, Charged Water, the Microfine Refinisher, Moisture Lush Cream, Strobe Cream, Studio Moisture Fix Lotion, Oil Control Lotion. This here is one of my favorite MAC products. It is Moisture Gleam. It's kind of like Strobe Cream for the body, but it's got a golden undertone to it. Some more random skincare products. Care Blends Oil, and perfume and eye makeup remover. This is a random chroma cake. This is my little palette that I use to put foundation and stuff on, and a couple of my airbrush guns. Alright, moving on to my powders. This row here is a mixture of Studio Fixes, Studio Care Blends, blot powders, and these over here are Sheer Mystery powders. Above it I've got my setting powder. Above that I've got my Select loose powder. These are my Select press powders. Those are iridescent powders. These are my Hyper Real pressed powders. Can't really tell the different colors, but that's actually a lavender, and that's a pink, and that's a white. And then it goes into the skin tone colors. These are my Mineralized Skin Finish Naturals. Over here I've got some beauty powders. Above that I've got some Mineralized Skin Finishes. And over here I've got my bronzers and some bronzing sticks. Moving on to blushes. These are Studio Mist blushes, Glimmer Shimmers, Cheek Hue, and the thing that looks like a pigment is actually a gloss. It's an all-over gloss. So that one's called Fantastical. And then I just have some random blushes that I haven't depotted. These are, what are these? Pearlizer Sheer Pigments. And these are loose beauty powder blushes. And a couple other cream blushes. And then I've got my palettes. And normally what I take to work is usually just this palette right here. I'll take this one because it pretty much has everything that I need. And if I do take a second one, I'll take this pink one right here. Alright, moving on to my lip products. These palettes right here are what I take with me on jobs. I've got a red palette, a pink and purple palette, and then a neutral palette. Down here I have some random lip products. So these are old lip glosses called Glitz Gloss. And then I've got a couple lip conditioners. These are lip mixes. They are not a gloss. They are just intended to mix with other lipsticks or glosses to create a custom shade. These are multi-use glosses. You can use them on the face, eyes, lips, body, whatever. Alright, and then I have my Pro Longwear lip colors. I use these on my brides. I actually prefer them to the newer Pro Longwear lipsticks because they do last longer. What's next to it is a little like cosmetic spatula thing. I don't know why I put it up there. Next, let me flip around so it's not upside down. I've got my lip liners, and they wouldn't really fit on the sheet here, but I kind of stacked them on top. So on the left I've got my lip gloss liners, and then my cream stick lip liners, and then my lip pencils, and then my new Pro Longwear lip pencils. Those are awesome. Next I've got some lip jellies, and then a lot of glosses. Sorry, I'm standing right underneath the light, so it's kind of blocking it. And then right over there are my lipsticks. So these lip products essentially, for the most part, are my personal collection, whereas the other palettes that I showed you over here, those would be what I bring to jobs. And I actually don't even use those that much because they're not long wearing, so I'll use those ones there. But all the rest of it is pretty much my personal stuff. Okay, so moving down, let's do this. We've got liners. These are Liquid Last liners. Below that I've got my pencil liners. Below that are my fluid lines. And over here we've got some paint pots and paints. These are Big Bounce shadows. And then my cream color bases. I use that purple one a lot, that's why I have it. And then that palette right there is more cream color bases that I melted into the palette. And moving over here, I've got my brow products. I've got my brow pencils, my wax finishers. These are brow sets, and then moving up goes into my different mascaras. Moving over, these are my pigment samples, pigment vials, and then my pigments. I don't have that many pigments because I really don't use them. Down here are some mineralized eyeshadows and a couple Metal X shadows and some other random stuff. And then moving over to my shadows. Now for jobs, I do not bring all of these because most people usually stick with neutral colors. So what I bring are these 4 palettes that you see right here, and the black palette and the palette above it. And then what I'll usually do is take 1 or 2, I'll probably take both of these palettes, empty them out, and fill them up with random colors from each palette. That way I've got just a little bit of everything brought with me. But for the sake of having nice pictures with everything in one spot and not having, you know, really random palettes. I know that they look random, but they look even more random when I do it for work. But anyways, for the sake of pictures, I kind of moved everything around. But normally I would just bring all my neutral palettes and then 1 or 2 of mixed colors. And lastly, I've got my brushes and brush belt. Nothing too exciting to see here, I guess. Let me just do a quick scan. I actually use a few other brushes that are not MAC, but since I like to keep everything by brand, or rather MAC and non-MAC. Anyway, so that is my collection, and my next video will be how I store it, so stay tuned.